Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Salebox for the 29th of December 2014. My name is TotalBiscuit, rounding up today's Steam deals. If you happen to miss yesterday's deals, you'll find them over in the video from yesterday. I know, I'm not even sure why I even tell you this. It's like, yes, I'm assuming you're all idiots and can't look through the channel to find videos. No, I'm sure you're not. But I suppose it's a nice reminder anyway. The Community Choice Sale that's going on at the moment, they've got Mercenary Kings as the biggest discount. Not a bad game, it's okay. My coverage was actually from the early access version of that a long time ago, but it's a fun Metal Slug-esque kind of game that's focused on gathering resources and crafting new silly weapons. Pretty cool. Although, honestly, with Gunpoint and Luftrausers also on sale there, those are also things you should consider, because I think both of them are actually better than Mercenary Kings. But never mind. Alright, let us begin, shall we, with Battleblock Theater, 90% off. That's idiot-proof. I mean, you've got to be out of your mind not to consider that one for that price. It is a fun little platformer indeed, from the folks that brought you Castle Crash as an Alien Hominid. It does have co-op, which is kind of fun. I enjoyed playing the co-op immensely because it allowed me to throw my co-op partner into lava. The aesthetic design is, as usual, very silly indeed, and of course the level editor is very strong, so you've got a lot of content going on there with Battleblock Theater. Yeah, I mean, it's beyond even considering not picking it up at a price that low, so go for it. Look, I'm not going to pretend that I know anything about either Farming Simulator or Construction Simulator, so let's just not do that. Left 4 Dead 2, 75% off. Every single sale, this one. This is the game that I remember most repeating myself on, because it ends up in every bloody sale imaginable. Look, it's better than the original Left 4 Dead in my honest opinion, because it has a much greater variety of both weapons and enemy types. This makes the versus mode a hell of a lot more fun. This also makes the progression through each level a lot more enjoyable, because you're not stuck with the same weapons for as long, which to me is important, because I actually don't find the combat in that game to be that interesting, so varying up the weapons does help a great deal. Man, I would pay a lot of money for Left 4 Dead 2 with the weapon physics and mechanics from Killing Floor. That would be incredible. As it stands, though, Left 4 Dead 2 is, of course, a great co-op game, even better in versus mode as far as I'm concerned, but get a group of friends, because the people that are playing Left 4 Dead 2 right now are veterans, and they probably won't like your noob crap. Don't Starve, 75% off. They recently released a Don't Starve Together, which is a co-op version of Don't Starve. It's currently in early access. It's actually a separate game altogether, but the original's got a lot going for it as well. It's a little bit of a unique survival game, although becoming less so now that more games are starting to go down this general direction, in the sense that it's a great deal of gathering. It's a lot of trying not to get eaten by horrible evil spiders, but more to the point, it's about not starving to death, of course, as you might imagine from the name of the game in general. So you got a lot of gathering of food and resources in order to make yourself sustainable and try and survive through various seasons. This game's got a lot of content because it was continuously updated. It's a lot better than what it was when I first looked at it. So Don't Starve is on the list if you can deal with the idea of permadeath. There are ways to avoid that and respawn, but they're few and far between and a little bit rare. So chances are you're going to be battering your head up against the wall for a while and dying and having to restart. But it's unique within the survival genre. It's also one of the only good games within the survival genre, so Don't Starve should be on your radar if you're into that kind of thing. Wolfenstein: The New Order, 66% off. Let me just get it out here. This is the best shooter that came out this year, bar none. Bar none. And if you want a good single-player shooter, Wolfenstein: The New Order is one. It's one of the best. And I was very happy that it was, by the way, because this is a game that I previewed at PAX and found to be really disappointing. And along came Wolfenstein: The New Order and said, no. Trust me, we're a lot better than what we showed you here. It's alt history against the Nazis who happen to have crazy technology. It's a really well put together campaign. It's well paced. It goes to silly places, but it somehow manages to keep the dialogue and character development in check, and I'm not really sure how they managed to do that. It's got great gunplay, it's got imaginative level design, it doesn't hold you by the hand, it's got plenty of collectibles and a decent amount of replayability thanks to the alternate timeline system that's built into that game. Yeah, Wolfenstein: The New Order is awesome. You should definitely consider it if you like single-player FPS. The Stanley Parable, 70% off. You need to experience the Stanley Parable, and I think the price tag put a lot of people off experiencing it because It's ultimately a very short game. I mean, you can, quote, beat it in about 20 seconds. But that's the nature of the game, is that it's got a bunch of different endings for you to discover, and the narrative sort of evolves through your various failures, and it's a really funny experience as well. Is it a game? Well, yes. I mean, it has failure states, so it is a game. But don't expect a lot of gameplay or puzzle solving. You're kind of trying to solve the game itself, trying to figure out what on earth is going on with it, and you're guided along through what is basically a walking simulator by a very amusing narrator. There's lots of things to discover in the Stanley Parable, and the discount shifts it, I think, from a, yeah, this is kind of good if you're into this sort of thing, to the, you gotta buy this and try it kind of territory. Splinter Cell Blacklist, 75% off. I was quite surprised by how much I enjoyed Blacklist. It actually in some ways reminded me a little bit of Deus Ex, and I know that sounds a little bit strange, but I think it's the optional stealth action stuff and the different varieties of approach and gadgets that you can put together that gave me that sort of vibe. Splinter Cell is not traditionally a series that I've enjoyed a great deal, mostly because a lot of the earlier games were very stealth-heavy. They've compromised a bit on that, which I know has pissed off some people, but it actually made the game more accessible for me as someone that's terrible at stealth, so I suppose there's some balance to be found there. I do like the fact that the game does allow you to approach the particular challenges in a variety of different ways. It's okay with you doing gunplay, it's okay with you being sneaky, it's okay with you doing non-lethal. But it also has a bunch of missions that do have instant stealth failure states. They're optional. They can all be accessed through the hub, which happens to be a giant flying command center. So you can go and do these optional stealth missions, or you can just do the main stuff and upgrade your gear and so on and so forth. I actually enjoyed Blacklist a great deal. I thought the AI was reasonable for a stealth game. I thought the gunplay was pretty damn solid. You do die nice and quickly, but you can do guns blazing, so you've got a lot of choice there. And it might be worth having a look at, even if you're not actually that interested in Splinter Cell as a series. One thing I will say is that it's tied to Uplay, and I had numerous saved game problems with Uplay. So do watch out for that. I believe it has been resolved, but I think it was tied into not having an internet connection at the time that I was actually playing. I played this thing on the cruise we went on in January, and we didn't have an internet connection, of course, because we're in the middle of the bloody ocean, and I had saved game problems as a result. So just bear that in mind. And finally, Men of War Assault Squad 2, 75% off. The Men of War series keeps getting overshadowed by Company of Heroes, which is a little silly because a lot of people assume they're the same kind of game, and they're really not. They are both set in World War II, yes, but this is more of a real-time tactics game. You don't build a base, you don't construct units. You are given a set of units, and that's what you have to work with. And you have to micromanage those units quite carefully. In fact, it even has a system which allows you to take direct control of them and move them around with WASD and even aim with a cone of fire using the mouse. And it's really quite interesting because there's a lot of in-depth management that you can put into play with your soldiers. You can steal enemy equipment from corpses, and of course you can scavenge ammunition. You have limited ammo, and each of the inventories of the soldiers is simulated. So if you run out of ammo, well, you've got to go find more ammo. You can also hijack vehicles, and there's a very detailed damage system for the vehicles as well. So what you'll find is a very challenging set of tactics missions. It's a little bit difficult to get into because the tutorial is frankly not that amazing. I mean, it might as well be non-existent, but it is a really challenging and rewarding game. The thing about Assault Squad 2 is that you can really pick up Assault Squad and get a fairly similar experience. They've improved the UI, they've bumped up the graphics a little bit, put a few extra features in, but Assault Squad 2 is in many ways literally the same game. Like, they have the same missions as Assault Squad, and Assault Squad is significantly cheaper. But you should be having a look at Men of War if you're looking for a challenging real-time tactics game that involves controlling squads and vehicles. And you can ride around on a tractor, which is nice. Alright folks, that is me done for the day. Thank you very much for watching the Salebox, and I will see you next time.